Hi, and welcome to ePACT. We're here today to explore using ePACT to protect your staff. Now, you may be using ePACT for your members, but you may not know that actually other organizations only use us to collect basic information to protect their staff. So today we're going to show you how you can do that. And in light of what's going on, we would encourage you to give this a try. We are giving a free trial for the next few months to encourage people to give this a go. So again, just to mention, this is a public webinar, so please make sure to mute your microphones during this. And of course, if you have any questions, please save them till the end. So why collect ePACT information for staff and volunteers using ePACT? Well, it lets you do a lot of things like collect up-to-date emergency contact information for your staff. So I'm going to give you a little example here. This is actually a real story that happened to me. So my husband works for the city, and he's been there for over 25 years. And about 8 or 10 years ago, he had a heart attack at the office. So he's fine now. So when it all happened, they called 911, of course. And then, they made its way up to HR. HR dusted out, opened the personnel file, dusted out the form that he'd originally filled out 25 years prior, or in that case, it would have been about 15 years prior, and then gave his emergency contact a call. Now, it was not me, actually. It was his girlfriend from the time when he first got that job, right? So obviously she was a little bit confused. But, needless to say, it all ended well. Obviously we had friends at the city who contacted me, but it does illustrate how we don't really think about that, right? So we think about updating, emergency contacts for ourselves, but we never really think about, you sign all your payroll forms and you've added an emergency contact, and then you never really think about it. You never think about updating that. So something to consider, that if you have ePACT, you're going to have the most up-to-date emergency contact, and you can ask them to double check it every year. It can also allow you to collect additional information quickly, like things if they require special assistance and an evacuation, for example. So a lot of people are thinking a lot of COVID right now, but real emergencies happen all the time. There are still natural disasters. So if there's a tornado and you need to evacuate your facility, do you know who needs a special assistance? And also, do you have a list of people who are assigned to assist them? So you can use ePACT to do that. We also have robust communications tools. So in an emergency, if you don't have access to your work email, what is your plan and how do you communicate with your staff? You can use ePACT to do that quite quickly. You can even use our app to do it. And of course, you can always send emergency urgent text from your cell phone by using your admin app. So from there, I'm going to toggle over to a real life org and just try to show you a little bit of what this looks like. I'm just going to go here. So in this particular case, I'm going to use the City of Plainsville staff just to give you an idea. So obviously, you can collect any type of information on ePACT. You can also customize this to be what you need. So you'll notice, I'm going to click here just to give you an example. This is obviously a lot shorter than you would have for members because I don't really require that much data. But it does give me a chance to collect things about assistance during volunteers. It also allows you to add a waiver if you wanted to. And of course, allows you to get that really crucial emergency contact information. Now, in light of what's happening as well, you may consider adding additional medical information like this, but really that is up to your discretion. We do recommend, just in light of the fact that the COVID-19 really does tend to affect adults a lot more than kids, it's probably a good idea to help mitigate the risk and to protect your organization to have to maybe ask a few, non-intrusive medical questions as well. So something to consider. So I'm just going to go back to my dashboard here. Apologies. And just opt out. So again, you can see here the department's been listed by department, and this is, again, something that can be really useful in terms of communications, right? So I can actually say, okay, I need to know everybody that is at Gosling Park. They're closing the facility early this week. Great, I do a quick search. There everybody is. I click select all message members, and then I can send them a general message. And again, this is what's kind of crucial, is you can quickly do that both on email and text. So like, facility is closed, right? So you can easily send that by email and also by text message, and if you also wanted, by voice message. So again, giving you a lot more flexibility to communicate 3 different ways, just basically on one page. So really, really useful. And of course, if you prefer, if you need a sort of back and forth information, you can also use our roll call option, which can be really, really useful on all my part-timers. So say I wanted to know who's available to do any extra hours this week. Perhaps I would just do that. So I click on select all, message members, and then roll call. And then I can just say who for extra hours. And then you can say confirm, text with a reply, or alternately, provide responses, yes or no. And then I'm basically able to send that out. And what's great is then I can track the responses quickly on one easy dashboard, because sending a group message can be really hard to sort of track everybody's behavior down. But if you're sending this via text message, all you really need is to quickly see everyone's responses. So this is just to give you an example. In this particular case, somebody was asking regarding COVID possible symptoms. So I just wanted to give you an idea of what that would look like. And you'll see everybody can respond, one, none. So people will give you some answers. So again, all of that is really nice that you can easily quickly track it. So you can see who has responded, and they'll have given you details. And then you can also see who hasn't responded. And you can, of course, send them a follow-up message or send them a follow-up email, something along those lines. So really kind of a useful tool in that regard as well. I'm going to toggle over here to one of my other organizations to give you an idea. So this is one where I can easily search as well for conditions that I might have added. So you see here, these are possible COVID questions, but you can also search for things like immunocompromised, right? Again, that's really crucial information. I can tell just Carl is immunocompromised, but again, that's kind of really crucial information should he ever be exposed. But also if he's ever sick or has a reaction. A lot of people always think, again, that only participants get hurt, but we know that that's not true. Adults particularly are just as susceptible as kids, right? I tell a story. This has actually happened to me, but not at ePACT, a different company. But we had somebody that worked with us that had a severe nut allergy. Now, everybody in the office knew that. I mean, it was a well-known fact. But we hired somebody new, and she had not really been explained how severe this allergy was. So, a couple days in, she brings, I believe it was the Snickers bar, to the office. And of course, he had a really horrible reaction. And we never think about it that way. But what kind of got rid is he was fine. He recovered. But when it all happened, we came to, again, call his emergency contact to let her know. It was his wife at the time. And when we gave her a call, her number was out of order. And that's because she had actually just switched employers about 6 months prior, and her employer provided her with a new cell phone number. And of course, the thing is, we think, I would think if I get a new cell phone number, if any information, my contact info changes, I would tell my employer, of course, that affects that, and, payroll would need that. But would I think to contact my husband's employer to let him know? And of course I wouldn't. And that's the key part, again, is to sort of think, well, this information can easily fall out of date if you're not kind of keeping on track of it, right? And of course, even like just a hockey club that does use ePACT last year, they're for the youngest kids, about 8-year-olds. Not a single child had an injury last year, which is great news, but they did have 2 coaches get hurt. And one of them actually, hit his head on the ice, was unable to respond, and they had no information for him. All they had was his 8-year-old son trying to call his mom. So we don't want to think about that happening to our staff, but it absolutely can. So it's always a good idea to have that information so you're prepared, so you have peace of mind should anything ever happen, that you can absolutely support your staff as needed. So I'm going to just get out of here and just go return to my PowerPoint here and just show you that there is, of course, I just mentioned at the beginning, and I'll finish with that as well, is you can, of course, use the ePACT app. And that's kind of crucial, especially if it happens when you guys are not on site. A lot of organizations do not allow you to access your email, or perhaps their emails are local, their email servers are local, they may not work during a mass emergency like a flood or an earthquake. But with ePACT, you can actually access this messaging tools right on the app, simply clicking menu, messaging member, and then sending them a message right from your phone, from the comfort of your couch if need be. So basically, this is what's important about this, all of this, is that you really want to make sure that you have the data to protect your staff, not just in light of what's going on today, but just in light of all emergencies. These things happen. We do not want to think about them, but of course they do happen. So to support your staff, consider using ePACT as well to collect this data so that you can support them if anything ever happens. Thank you so much and have a great day.